Yo, dude, we're back. Precision Engine Works. We got James with us, Barry's here as well, and then John's behind the camera. So this is the original 4200, and it's tore completely down. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually get another engine to show you guys exactly what goes into the teardown process on one of these motors. Yo, so before we get into any of this in the video today, we have to thank a couple of our partners. The first one being Holdfast. That's my company. So if you want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. The merchandise and the things you guys buy from us goes to building projects and doing things like this. So we appreciate you guys for supporting, and shout out to Holdfast. The other one is FDF Race Shop. They do all kinds of angle kits, but on top of the angle kits, they do hydros, they do brake booster deletes, they do all kinds of stuff. So whatever your chassis is, FDF probably makes parts for it. So check them out if you're interested in racing, or if you're interested in drifting, or even just doing a couple of like sick street mods for your car. FDF for the guys to go to. And then the last one that supports the channel is GT Radial. They cover all of our rubber needs, from the truck to the trailer to the race car. Again, I'm gonna keep telling them, the only thing we're missing is a rally tire. I need a rally tire, Mike. Appreciate you guys. Thanks to the sponsors, and go ahead and give them a follow, give them a like. They help create this content and keep it free for you guys. So. And then today we're gonna be with the Precision Engine Works boys, James and Barry. But make sure you check them out. They built my LS that's in my pro car. Nasty. Josh from FTA tuned it, but Precision Engine Works is gonna be taking care of the 4200 build as well. So they're a big supporter of this series. Appreciate you boys. Appreciate you boys. Those are the guys. Check them out. We appreciate them. Let's get into the video. From this point where this motor's at, it's only building it now, right?
That's it, machine work and building.
So this is our original 4200. This is the $245 4200. But we went over to the junkyard today just to see what we can see. And we found another motor. So we walked into the junkyard, instantly ran into a Trailblazer 03.
Yeah.
And then this one, which is probably somewhere around the same generation. It's got the plastic valve cover on it, so it's a first gen. There's the ECU right there. This is what's like so sick about these 4200s, is they're readily available. And we literally are at this point just price shopping, because there was two across the street from the shop.
Yep.
But they wanted like 1800 and then like
right.
1500 or something. And then here at this junkyard, they're saying that the motors are, what were they, 300 bucks?
$299.
$299 at the pick apart. This thing's ready to fall out, dude.
It is. 2 bolts. That one and the one on the other side.
And then she'll just come straight out, huh?
Yep.
Found another one.
Number 4.
So there's a total of 4 here. And we didn't even check to see if there was like motors already pulled either.
Yeah. Which I know they have them pulled already probably.
We'll just call Barry and pull that one out real quick. 2
different sockets and a gun and rip that one out.
Rip it out, bring a chain, a strap, something.
Yep.
Bring the truck. Look, another one. This one's clean.
That one's way cleaner.
This one's way freaking cleaner. It's got all the coil packs, missing trans. Does it have an axle going through the front wheel?
No, sir.
Yeah, dude.
This is the one right
This is the
here.
one. So one of you guys commented, said that there's essentially more JZs in a junkyard than there are 4200s. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I just responded with a laughing emoji. Let me just be clear. Toyotas are so much better than GMCs and Chevys, and that's why there's not as many of them as in the junkyard. And JZs are really good engines. I'm not at all trying to bash on a JZ. Rather, we're just trying to explore a new option, okay? So everybody's got their freaking panties in a bunch. Kick back, dude. Take it easy. I think this is the one.
Oh yeah.
So we're missing the
This
intake
number
manifold.
5 or 6.
I think this is the 5th one. There's so many JZs here, it's crazy. Never in my life did I think that I was gonna be going to the junkyard to freaking pull a motor out of some freaking GMC Envoy.
I don't think you'd ever find one.
Yeah, especially with how not plentiful they are. We should have just got a JZ. Those things are everywhere. Well, pulling this motor out of a car that's on a freaking spare wheel. Sketchy as hell. So it got pretty sketchy. A lot of stuff almost went wrong, but almost everything went right.
Still got out fingers and.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
We're good. We can still count. It's fine. It doesn't really do you guys any justice to just kind of start building something without you seeing kind of how to tear it down. The idea behind this video is just to kind of show you guys what's going to go into the teardown process and maybe some tips and tricks if there's like a hidden bolt or something that maybe you struggled with. And then there's a couple of other things that these are notorious for that will run into, like head bolts.
Head bolts just breaking.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge. So we got a new motor though. Check it out. Bam! Barry's here. Well, you don't gotta run away, Barry. You're good. Okay. This is another 4200. This one's an 04. The one on the table is an 05. They're still first generation, so nothing's really different between the two of them. We paid about 420 bucks or something like that. So it's still not bad. We had all the accessories on it and I wanted to kind of try to keep them, but they wanted like 60 bucks per freaking accessory. So I was gonna pay about the same price for the base of the motor without the taxes and the core charge. But we're probably gonna end up doing like an LS power steering pump and maybe an LS alternator. No real reason to do it beside that they make like 250 amp alternators and LSs already. So if we can retrofit one of those onto here, then like why not? Plus they're readily available and it'll also share alternators with the Pro car. So that's also a plus. One spare alternator is a spare alternator for either motor, whichever one gives. So this motor's pretty much completely intact and we're gonna take it all the way down to a bare block, just like the 05 motor. Ready?
I'm ready. Let's
do it. It's a pretty straightforward tear down.
Yeah.
It's a inline 6, so it shouldn't be too crazy. There's gonna be, again, a couple of things that James has figured out that he's gonna teach us. But other than that, when it comes to the 2JZ and those motors, they're very, very simple. Just like the LS, it's very, very simple. A lot of the times you get nervous because of the unknown, but once you actually build it once, you get kind of locked in after that. So for me, this will be my first time doing it, but luckily I'm accompanied by James. There she goes. Look at those long boys.
Big one.
A little bit of corrosion. Nothing too bad. This is another cool thing about the 4200 is that the rail is actually bolted to the head and the injectors go into the side of the head. Instead of like a traditional motor, typically you're going into the runner on the intake manifold, but this one straight into the head. So Aaron, Radium, dude, we got to build some stuff for this motor. That's actually a good sign. There's not like all these metal fittings, there's not like rust in them or anything. This one's kind of got a little bit of gunk in it. But
the motor was surprisingly, I mean, it was covered. It's
yeah,
definitely clean.
Does the water on this motor ever touch anything that's steel? Like it doesn't touch the jackets, does it? Or the cylinder? It touches the cylinder,
sleeve,
but it doesn't touch the sleeve, the metal sleeve. The steel sleeve. It touches the aluminum side, but not the steel, right? So in theory, there really shouldn't be any rust in here unless the impeller or something on the water pump or the thermostat is steel. Watch this.
See what you made me do?
That's what you get. Oh, look at that. High-speed removal. Broke it. I don't care. Mind you, I've never taken a 4200 apart before, ever. So just to give you like a little bit of perspective on how hard this is. Just like the LS, the center ones share a center bolt. Multi-layer exhaust gasket, dog. High performance from the factory. it goes. It's a good O-ring. Yeah, it's a crank position sensor. A little metal sledge built. Thermostat housing. Still got some coolant in it.
Save those two.
No oil in them.
That's the race coil, this one. See it?
Oh, 'cause it's white. I
Yep.
see. These actually all look good in here, dude.
Yeah.
This one's got a little seepage, but nothing major.
Yeah, these always leak right around the
Yeah.
gasket for the where the coil packs
For
are.
the coil packs.
Yep. You can see that one seep in there.
I mean, that's the one thing that we did find out is that in that motor, we were told it had rod knock, and we took it apart, and I think it was cylinder 6 that had the spun bearing. So we'll see what this one's got. This one, apparently you could buy a guarantee for it, which just means that you can go back with the motor if it's bad and get your money back, which I thought that was
So
just
you
a
have to-
refund that like people do for customer service.
Yeah. You have to pay to get your money back.
Yeah, you have to pay in order to have insurance on a refund. Whatever. So we'll see what this one has, but the other one had rod knock. All right, cover can come off. Let's see what we got. Was it taken? Dude, oh,
Wow.
a fuse. Nice,
There's
dude.
a bunch
Well,
of them in there.
25,
Did you pay for that?
20. What are you talking about? Well, 10. There's like 2 more 10s down there. Dude, nice. Oh, this looks different. Is this BVTI cam a little different?
Yeah.
It is, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because the other one has like a full housing.
Yeah, the other one looks just like the Ecotex.
Ah. So they changed that from 04 to 05 apparently. One of the other things as I've been like FaceTiming Casey over at AK is that he got a 2nd gen and a 1st gen. And one of the other things they found out was that this top timing chain guide doesn't exist on the 2nd gen. So he was actually able to, he's like getting a CNC'd front portion of a valve cover. And so that portion will lead up to a certain area. I think it's
Right behind those bolts.
It's one of these because there is something different in the gasket as well, but it stops somewhere right there. So he'll just cut it and cut the aluminum one up. Then you can actually use that nice billet like CNC valve cover front half with the back half aluminum on a 1st gen.
Okay.
And then you can get rid of this timing chain guide, and the cover comes way down lower. So it's pretty nice. So it doesn't look too bad as far as like buildup and grime and all that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see them, they got literal build-up sludge.
Just
Burnt
sludge.
oil. But this one's not, so far, not
And
too
that
bad.
bearing wear looks fine, or the lobe wear
Yeah.
doesn't look abnormal at all.
Nope, everything looks good so far.
Just so that we don't run into any surprises. Oh yeah. I think we got it. Yeah. Oh nope. Did it break that one in half? It bent it. I'll take this. What's next, James?
Front cover.
Front cover. Timing cover. Okay, so we're switching to a shotgun mic. The regular mics are dead, but we're in the shop, so it shouldn't be too bad. But you can let us know if you like this better or the other mics. We're taking off the pan. Motor's split. Run it. So one of the cool things is that when we're pulling this motor, Casey back at AK had a hell of a time because he bought a Trailblazer with this motor in it for $1,000 running and driving from a dealership, which is nuts. But he had the 4-wheel drive model, so there's actually an axle that goes through this oil pan. So when you go online and you look at the dimensions of the motor and you go, oh, the motor's so big, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, there's a freaking oil pan that has an axle running through it. This is not something you leave on here. Just like if you got a 6.0 out of a Silverado that has the freaking giant oil pan hanging off the back, you're going to put a Canton or you're going to put a Moroso or whatever, one of your other swap kit oil pans. Like, don't take this oil pan into account when you're thinking about the dimensions of this engine. It's not even a problem. That's going to get handled so fast. There's guys who already make rear sumps for this. The only problem with the one that I saw was that it's all steel. It's kind of like, I'd kind of rather have an aluminum one. And then there's guys who take the 4-cylinder engine, and what they'll do is the bolt pattern's actually the same, which is very amazing. And they'll bolt the back half on, and they cut it down the middle, and then they bolt the front half on. So it's a rear sump oil pan, and then they build a center section in between. Casey's got a flange coming in, an aluminum flange all the way around, and he's going to try to make an oil pan and come up with something. All right, oil pan removal. Shoo! Oh, screen's got a little bit of gunk in it. Tip: when you're taking off the front cover, you have to pull the oil pan because the pickup tube is attached to the oil pump, and the oil pump is in the front cover. So don't get frustrated if you pull all these bolts off the front of it and go, I can't get the thing off. They don't come off. Well, that's why. Now that that's removed, this front cover comes right off, no problem. There's your oil pump built into the front cover. We talked about that last time. So now the oil pan's off, oil pickup's off, oil pump, front timing cover, all of it's removed. Now you can see all the timing chain and how it runs. So another one of the things that you're going to run into is that inside of these holes here is where the timing chain guide bolt is. And so the only way you're getting those out is by pulling off these as well. So just know that you can't obviously remove anything on the head. Head's all one piece, but those plugs is how you can get access to the timing chain guides. Now this is probably one of the bigger things I think that the JZ has on this motor is that the sprockets are a little bit more recessed, and on top of it, it's a belt. Yeah. And so like, there's like old school tricks with belts. Like I'm sure you know, you can like run a razor blade on half of it, and take the front half off, and then slip your new belt on, and then cut the back half and slide your belt completely on.
You're not doing that with this.
You're not doing that with this thing. Timing on these isn't too gnarly. No. They got marks. That's probably the most, I think, challenging thing when you're putting a motor together, at least for an inexperienced builder like myself when it comes to like engine building, is like, do I have the timing lined up? Do I have all the marks lined up? Because if I don't, and it's an interference motor, yeah, we're screwed. If you pay attention really closely to your timing marks and you really do your due diligence in lining things up, that's probably the worst part about it. The rest of it is...
And double and triple check it.
Yeah. Just check it. The rest of it's all bearing clearances and then, you know, tricks of the trade that a lot of people don't share.
It don't cost money to double check.
Press checks are free, dog. Just remember that for all my CCW boys. Timing chain is off. Yeah!
Had to get the big guns.
You gotta call the big guns in. Let me see that there. Oh, there you go. You got it?
Yep, I got it.
Cool. Thanks, Barry.
Good job, Micah.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Done that without you. Keep spinning, see nothing.
Nothing. So these must be non-interference motors. Yeah, it's still dipping these valves way open. So this is probably the worst thing about this engine. These head bolts break pretty easy. Broke. There it is. Popped. Ah, and it pops right at the freaking thread to the block. So the problem with this motor is, I think that's like one of the bigger ones, especially in the disassembly process. Now, when we go to rebuild it, we're going to use some type of ARP stud and nut combo, so like you won't have that problem anymore. But there's going to be bolts broken off in the block, and they're going to have to get extracted. That sounded good.
Yeah, so the trick I found, I don't like to give all my secrets, but it takes a long time. But that little crack you hear, as soon as you hear that crack, stop.
Okay.
And I broke that one so we could show on the video.
Okay.
When you hear that first crack, stop. Put your socket in there and hammer the crap out of it. 10, 15 times good hits. Go back, you'll get another crack. Put the socket back in there, crack it a bunch more, you'll get another crack. That's the only thing that I found that somewhat works. If somebody else has a better idea, please let me know.
Yeah, let us know. I'm looking to not have to utilize James' dad's skills. James figured out another technique to get the head bolt out, so this is sharing with you guys.
Yeah, so big gun. Just go forward, reverse, keep going. And I use a paint marker, and I'll mark the bolt. That way I can see when it starts moving, and it starts moving a little bit more, and I'll go a little more, keep going until eventually it backs out in one piece.
Look at the paint marker. Wow. Look at it. Hey. Dad skills, bro. He's a dad. So, a lot of them broke. We approached it with different techniques. The techniques work, but if a bolt's gonna snap, bolt's gonna snap, dude. Let's see. Here comes the head. Ooh. All right. Oh, is this different than the other ones? Head gasket doesn't look like it was out, huh?
No. No, you can see it's sealing good everywhere.
Looks good. Looks good. These walls are nice and polished still too. It's smooth, huh?
Yeah.
This thing's freaking. I could feel the edges. Not bad. So the cylinder walls in this look pretty good, huh?
Yeah, so far. Better than the other one we have. You can still see the cross hatching from the factory, so there's not a ton of wear there.
Wow, you can. You can see them cross hatching is these lines that are going down at an angle and then at another angle on the other side. And that's the freaking hone going up and down, right?
Yeah, that's what keeps the ring seated and stops, when an engine has a lot of miles, you won't see that much.
It looks pretty good. That's exciting. Well, the true story will be told when we start pulling rods. Then we'll be able to see the rod bearings, see if we lost anything down there. Dome pistons, carbon buildup. So most of this carbon buildup, James, is this from just mileage, or do you think is that from like bad fuel too, or what?
That's a mix of mileage, and then it's just sitting there. So then that's when it starts getting flaky like that. But that's normal for a motor that's been sitting there. Who knows how long this, when the last time it ran.
FaceTime. But the cool thing was that the ones we got out of were 2-wheel drive.
Okay, that's easy.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like it has a lot of wear on it at all.
Not at all.
I wonder what the mileage was on this. And I wonder what broke on it. Like, why was it the junkyard? Did it look wrecked? It didn't look
No,
wrecked.
it wasn't wrecked.
Like on most of them, when you take the head bolts out, it's like.
That thing barely has any mileage on it, man. It's still coated.
Yeah, so is a coating. That bearing looks good. I mean, you don't have to take it apart.
Just grind it over.
You can just drive it the way it is.
Looks good.
Looks good.
Yep.
Cylinder 6 is good. She's all pretty still.
Put bearings on it too, or just take it?
One and then
Looks good.
salad middle.
Nothing that's out of the ordinary for a used car,
Nice, dude. Nice. This is a good block. Good block. Only problem is a bunch of head bolts broken off in it. But Listen, spend enough time doing this crap. That begins to be not too bad. There's our thrust bearing. How does she look? Ooh, backside's got some wear on.
A little wear, but nothing.
Casualties of war. Well, there you have it. The 4200 laid out in parts. The only thing that's not here is the block, but it's on the engine stand over there. This motor is in better shape than the other motor, but I mean, now it's time to just kind of really dig into it. We're gonna, I'm sure, tear apart the head and do a valve job and make sure that's all good, resurface it. We'll find some valve springs that'll fit that. The cool thing is you can, James, you're saying that you can go off the height and the diameter.
Yep.
And almost put any GM spring in there as long as it matches the same diameter, right, and height. Beyond that, are we talking about doing cams at all, or what do you think?
On the permanent motor, I'd like to.
Okay.
Just because it'd be expensive for somebody to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go in turbo, but like if you were to put one in some crazy competition car, then yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So at least the head will get torn apart. It'll get rebuilt. Those rods and pistons are junk. The oil pan, the pickup tube is trash. These coil packs, garbage as well. That crank pulley's probably garbage as well. I've already blown off one on my LS. That's terrifying. The crank was in really good shape, so that's really cool. We'll clean it. We'll probably, I think there's one of the mains or something you want to do a polish.
Yeah, we'll just polish the whole thing and clean it, polish it, do a little touch-up work to it.
Yeah, and then Casey's working on a aluminum valve cover for the Gen 1 motor, so stay close because that's going to be pretty rad and it'll decrease the overall height. And then most of the other stuff here is junk. Maybe those engine mounts are something we could still use because that's actually really, those are really nice. They just stick straight off the side and they're pretty simple. So maybe that could be a base and then something else is built. But all in all, 4200. Now we have two of them. So we'll see. One might become a guinea pig that we're just trying to explode and see what it can handle. And the other one will probably be more of a performance-oriented motor. But the big question that everybody keeps asking me is, what's it going to go in? What car, what chassis, what platform? So I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
There's a couple of cars I really like. The Corvette sounds like it would be cool, but that also has an LS2 in it, so I don't know that I want to get rid of that. BMW's come with inline sixes. You guys know I'm a big fan of the E36, E46 chassis. But also with the Chaser being available and turning into a ride-along car with the back seats, a 4.2 liter engine would be, I think, substantially better than the 2.5 that's in it. So we'll see. Let me know what you think we should put it in. But we're going to build it. It's going to be nasty. Stay tuned. I know you guys are stoked on this build, and we are too. So appreciate you, boys. Stay safe and hold fast, baby.